Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this not SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along today. I am Amanda, normally your host of the SmackDown review, but today, for 1 week only, I am here to give you my preview and predictions for Mania, which is now this week, guys. Can you believe it? Now then, there's been a whole lot of talk about the introduction of Pat McAfee into the title match build with Randy and Cody. Most of what I have heard has been negative. I loved Punk's promo, handling McAfee his arse the other week and putting him firmly in his place. A bit weird, then we got a follow-up from McAfee to Punk this week where he ripped Punk for having TKO WWE merch whilst wearing his very own TKO WWE merch. He also did this weird price drop announcement like he was on QVC or something, then saying that they're dropping the price for Saturday but not for Sunday, as Sunday's crap anyway. Personally, in my humblest of opinions, I guess there's probably a bit more to it than the extortionate prices, although the prices are extortionate. I think there's a bit more to blame for this year's poor sales. Yes, it's expensive, but I know a lot of people who aren't keen on travel to the US right now. It's a similar story I'm hearing for the World Cup tickets in the summer too. Anyway, the whole Randy Cody McAfee thing is weird and I hate it. Let's look at the card at time of recording, which is Wednesday evening. I haven't broken these down by day, so let's just get straight into it. So let's start off with our main event title matches. We've got CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, WWE have done a decent job of piling on the heat here. Punk's last promo was another strong one. Roman has been pretty much Roman by numbers. I don't think, or at least I don't hope, there's any way we get another part-time Roman run. I really, really hope not. So I'm hoping very much for a Punk retention. I don't think there's any way that they would recrown Roman, is there? After Mania he disappears for months on end, as is his schedule, and we have thoroughly been through all the different creative variations that the writers at WWE can come up with. So I am sticking my neck on the line here and saying Punk to retain. That brings us to Cody versus Randy for the undisputed WWE Championship. And okay, I've said already, this one feels a bit icky to me. I think the introduction of McAfee is just inexplicable, and why on earth, out of all of the people on earth, why he's been made the arbiter of WWE. As Punk rightly pointed out this week, Randy wasn't even part of the Attitude Era, so this whole thing makes absolutely no sense, none at all. Now, rumour has it he was put in at the insistence of the TKO bigwigs. Well, I say Tripp should have the balls to know what will and won't work and have the courage of his convictions. And with what he's built in terms of stories over the course of a year, no, 3 years? Honestly, I'm annoyed by the whole thing. As I said, it gives me the ick. I used to like McAfee on comms. He was fun-faced, but this role is just utter BS. This all makes this match a bit of heart over head. I feel like pre-McAfee, I wanted to see Randy win his 15th title and have a run, but now post-McAfee, I just want to see a Cody retention. What do I think we will get? Unfortunately, I believe we are going to get a Randy win with some annoying shenanigans from McAfee and probably some kind of involvement from Jelly Roll leading us onto Backlash. I don't think his reign will last a long time. He may even drop it at Backlash. But so I'm going head over heart, and I'm going to say that because of WWE, TKO, we're going to get a Randy win. Next up, we've got Jade Cargill, current champ, versus Rhea Ripley in the WWE Women's Championship. Okay, let's talk the women's titles. So starting with Jade versus Rhea. Not to put too fine a point on it, this has been an absolute shit show. as has the whole of Jade's run, to be honest. And let's be honest, it has been shockingly bad. She's got very little charisma, no promo, very limited moveset, and by all accounts from backstage gossip, she isn't much of a good egg either. Let's not get it twisted, though. WWE should never, ever in a million years have put the belt on Jade this early. And when the backups you bring to try and save the run and quote-unquote help are the mighty B-card army of Michin and B-Fab, well, I'm sorry, there's absolutely no hope this run is working out. Sprinkle that with your opponent being the absolutely phenomenal Rhea Ripley, who is a future Hall of Famer, no doubt, and just a mega uber talent, and Jade has never had a chance here. I think we will get shenanigans, but I think Rhea takes it and we close the chapter on what has been an absolute embarrassment of a run. Let Jade stick with her B-card army, around the B-card where they all should be. Maybe, though, the B-card army will turn on Jade. Maybe this has been part of the long story and end up helping Rhea. Either way, Rhea wins and is our new champ. To throw it in there, I think at the end we're going to get Rhea's moment. She's going to get her pyro. She's going to get comms giving her all her flowers. And just as we are about to cut away, I feel like we're going to get Bianca Belair's music hit. She's going to come out. These two are going to face off. And there is our new feud. Bianca's back, fit and healthy, hopefully. And we've got what we wanted to see, which is Rhea versus Bianca in a program. Moving it along, we've got Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Champ. And so Liv has gone full on carry here, and I am here for it. Absolute bonkers brilliance. This one is harder to call as I am a massive fan of Stephanie Vaquer, but she hasn't exactly had a memorable title run. I don't know if she's been injured or has just got a bit lost in the whole lead up to Mania. I'm going to say that we get a Liv win here. It will be a great match, and maybe the New Look Judgment Day will start to rake in the gold again. Absolutely no shade from me for Stephanie. She is an amazing talent, and I have got no doubt she will have many more title runs and continue to grow and grow. She is brilliant. So let's have a look at some of our other matches then. We've got Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. Okay, this is a tough one. I heard on another podcast this week that Brock was happy to come back in order to put over Femi. I suspect there was a huge amount of zeros involved in the paycheck to make that happen. Really, by rights, we should have a Femi win here, and it should be a no-brainer. But can you really tell me? And I have a thought worm in the back of my head telling me that this is going to be a Brock win. I just hope it isn't a 5-minute squash where we get 99 suplexes and 50 F5s and that's that. They couldn't, could they? Would they? Who knows? Reality is Femi has only been on the main roster for 5 minutes and Brock is returning. I hesitate to use the word legend, but WWE certainly would. So, okay, very little confidence from me. I'm going for a Brock win based mostly purely on the Heyman promo that he cut this week and the superstitions around him using the spoiler alert terminology. That brings us on to Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Without a shadow of a doubt, for me, gets the prize for the what the fuck match for this year. And yes, I know, because of the injury to the bronze and the desperation to get Seth on the card, but Gunther, this literally makes no sense, even for WWE. They have spent the last year or more trying to have us believe that Gunther is the career killer, and I won't bore you again with my thoughts on that, but it's not true. Now, there's no way he is ending Seth's career because Seth is still top of the card, one of the top guys in WWE. So what's the reason for this? I don't get it. And I also actually really don't care. Maybe this is a vehicle to bring back one or both of the bronze, getting the Vision back together and taking out Seth, which would be the only acceptable outcome for me with this one. It's just weird and wrong. But if that does happen, so we get the match, we get the bronze involved, maybe it's a DQ finish or something like that. Seth gets beat down, cementing him very firmly as a face and starting off that whole roller coaster, which I think we all wanted to see, which is Seth getting his revenge on the Bronze. But let's see. I'm not feeling it for that particular match. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Well, this build has been much better than expected. I know that is a view that is not shared by many fellow podcasters, writers, etc. But for me, I've quite enjoyed it. That sit-down promo between the two of them a couple of weeks ago was excellent. I'm going to go out on a mega limb here and say that I think this match brings us the return of Paige. Hear me out. We get a great match between Becky and AJ, an absolute classic. AJ retains, the win is clean, and at the end of the match, whilst we've got AJ celebrating, we get Paige's music comes out. Listen, let's remember that AJ Lee and Paige basically defined that transition era of women's wrestling. Their feud, the Women's Revolution, started the ball rolling. It would be a massive nostalgia hit. Who wouldn't love to see these two together? This is good because it doesn't bury Becky. If she loses, it's to AJ Lee, who's an absolute legend. Then the spotlight shifts straight away to Paige. Becky stays protected without needing to eat any kind of long-term loss. And then I think we're probably going to see, hopefully, a Paige-AJ match for the title. And I don't really care who wins. That would just be a wicked nostalgia hit. So I'm going for an AJ retention, a great match, and a Paige return, keeping everything crossed. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. This will be an absolute slobber knocker, as good old JR would say. I think we get a Fatu win and hopefully a mega push for him, pushing Drew even further over the edge. I think a Drew loss writes him well off TV for a while, because I understand he's going off to film the Highlander film or TV series, whatever it is, allowing him to have some time off to reset and return probably as a face. I think we've probably gone as far down the aisle way of the Drew being a crazy heel, so I think it's time for him to reset his character. I want to see Fatu now pushed to the absolute moon. There is a curveball with this one, and that's that Solo and the MFTs, who involved themselves in Fatu's business earlier in the week, possibly Solo throwing Tama Tonga under the bus and kind of revealing that it was him who busted Fatu's teeth. So there could be something more going on there. I think Tama Tonga is on his way out of the MFTs, so are we going to see Fatu team up with Tama, and them two go on a tear together? Either way, look, I want to see Fatu pushed, and I think he's going to get the win here. Drew's going off the TV for a while. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship. This could not be more obvious, in my opinion. WWE are absolutely in love with Trick, as are the fans. Well, his theme tune at least. I think we get a Trick win here, unless we have shenanigans from Mello or another returner. Wink, wink. We can talk about that at the end. I don't really mind with this. I mean, it's been nice for Sami to have gold, no doubt, but I don't get the impression that WWE are that bothered to keep him relevant. So I'm saying a Trick win, but with shenanigans. And could those shenanigans be from a returning KO? I think we're going to see KO at some time over this weekend. Maybe that's the big pop that we get at the Raw After Mania. Raw After Mania in the last few years has been not as good as we would have hoped, I think it's fair to say. So I think we're due a big one. So how about this for a bit of fantasy booking? So Trick wins the United States Championship, either clean or with shenanigans, either Mello or that little yachty chap, something there. Sami takes his medicine and leaves. He comes out Monday Night Raw, turns heel, cuts an absolutely scathing promo on the crowd, on the WWE, etc., etc. Kevin Owens' music hits. The crowd go absolutely crazy. And there's a moment of, is he going to come and beat down Sammy or what? He comes to the ring. The two of them hug. And we have got one of the finest heel teams I think we can ever see. Those two work together like absolute magic. So that is my call for Monday Night Raw after Mania. KO is going to be the big return. He's going to buddy back up with his best mate, KO. They're going to be just a wicked, wicked heel team. Let's move in along to Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. If this is Finn as the Demon, it's a very different proposition to plain old 0 fat percentage Finn. This will be a good match, no doubt. If it's Finn versus Dom, I fully expect a Dom win. If it's the Demon, I think we see a very different match. I think we're going to see Dom almost take the pee a little bit and be like, it's just Finn in face paint. And then I think it will be a squash, I think we're going to get a 5-minute match. I think the Demon will rip Dom apart, and Finn will be reborn even more than he already is, full face. So I think I've got a split prediction there. If it's Finn, it's a Dom win. If it's the Demon, it's definitely a Finn win. And then we've got our Intercontinental Championship ladder match. This is Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Rusev, JD McDonough and his huge forehead, and Rey Mysterio. This, obviously a multi-man ladder match for the belt. This will be the sleeper that steals the show. Some of the guys in this one, if not all of them, are on fire. You've got Evans, Penta and Lee. You've got some of the finest high flyers in the business. JD is a great talent in his own right. And Rusev is just an absolute beast. We've also got the later edition of Rey Mysterio, which adds a whole different dimension. So who wins? I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say Evans takes the win in what is going to be an awesome match, and one we are going to be talking about for years to come. We've then got the 6-man tag, Logan Paul, Austin Theory and I Show Speed versus Knight and the Usos. Second only to Seth and Gunther, another pointless match. I know we've got to shoehorn celebrities into Mania because, bigger audience, blah, blah, blah. We've got shoehorned I Show Speed for that exact reason. This will be a win for the Vision, and no one will care. We've got then the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Championship match. So this is Nia and Lash, the champions, Shalexa, Bayley and Lyra, and the Pointless Twins. That worm in the back of my head is telling me that the Bellas are winning. Otherwise, what's the point of bringing them back? However, we've got a curveball. That Bella number 2 is carrying an ankle injury and I'm not sure has been confirmed as fit to compete. So if she is not fit to compete, do they transplant some different team into the mix here? I guess the obvious team would potentially be the Kabuki Warriors, although I don't necessarily want to see that. I think I would much rather have seen Asuka versus Io, but speaking of Io, and I know this is a close to 0 chance, but wouldn't you love to see Rhea and Io being entered into this in the absence of the Bellas? As I said, it's all a bit up in the air because we don't know if they're fit. As I said, if they're fit and competing, what's the point of bringing them back? And I guess that's not a rock to look under. I don't know what the point of them is anyway. This time I want to shut down the worm. I refuse to think that the Bellas will win tag titles, and I'm going for Bayley and Lyra to give Bayley her well-deserved maybe in a moment that she missed out on last year. And I do love those two as a team. I wasn't a fan at first, but you can colour me converted to those two. They've been brilliant. So other possible returns, already mentioned the Bronze and Paige. We've also got Kevin Owens. There's so many stories that he could be inserted into. The standards, as always, we've got The Rock. I don't think we're going to see him. Obviously, we don't know who this higher voice is that's been directing Pat McAfee's actions. Lots of speculation there. I don't think it's going to be Rock. Maybe we're going to see Undertaker, cameo at the Hall of Fame at most, I would say. Interesting is the Stone Cold rumour, which seems to be strong this year. I'd love to see him come back and do a stunner, hopefully on Pat McAfee, down some beer. Which brings us to this year's most insane return rumour, which is none other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I say that's not happening with all the controversy surrounding him, but this is WWE, so never say never. And, I mean, he would be the higher voice that had been talking to Pat McAfee, but I am not having that. I don't know who you guys think is this higher voice. Is it just this super agent who works for TKO, whose name I can't remember, that is the agent of The Rock as well? I don't remember what his name is. Is it just him? I think we're going to see Bianca Belair, as I said, in the Rhea match, and it would be so great to finally see her back. And then finally, Chris Jericho. I think that ship has well and truly sailed. I'm not even mentioning his name. So let's see. I am hopeful, let's say, travelling hopefully towards this Mania. Let's see what happens with all the nuances and all the ins and outs of the storylines. Look, Mania is always good, right? WWE are excellent at putting together video packages from what has been either nothing or questionable. The production is going to be brilliant. We're going to have pyro. We're going to have a crowd that's overexcited. We've got a returning Cena as host, which, you know, the guy can talk. I like Cena. So, let's see. Let's just see. I am hopeful. So that just about does it for this week's special show. I will be back with our SmackDown review on Saturday morning, which should hopefully drop just before we all go off and watch Mania for the weekend. So obviously if anything happens developing on SmackDown, that's not been covered in this show, but I shall cover it in SmackDown. Thank you very much for having me in your ears for this one-off exceptional show. And until I speak to you again on Saturday, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.